everyone. Fellow Toastmasters, honorable guests, and lovely children. The Elite Youth Leadership Program 2014. Meeting number 3 is now in order. On behalf of Elite Toastmasters Club 2990, I welcome all our youth leaders, club members, mentors, and parents to its meeting number 3, being conducted at Aljud Family Hall. The mission of Youth Leadership Program is to provide a supportive and positive learning experience so they can grow to meet the challenges of adulthood and become a good communicators and leaders through practical experience. This is an educational program and we don't discuss matters related to sex, religion and politics. I request all of you to put off your mobile phones or any other electronic devices that can cause disturbance during the meeting. It's my pleasure to welcome our Chief YLP Coordinator tonight, a motivator and a role model for many Toastmasters, youth leaders, and a person who has committed himself to nurturing the young generation to be a better communicators and leaders. Let me invite our Chief YLP Coordinator, Toastmaster Uncle Perry.
Thank you, Youth Leader Vishnu, for that generous introduction. But I'm not going to be very carried away or impressed with a generous introduction. Do you know what is going to really make me very happy? Yes, extremely smart. Our Youth Leader of the Day for the previous meeting came up with a very right answer. Your performance. Give her a round of applause, please. Respected parents, fellow Toastmasters, and my dear most courageous youth leaders. Good evening.
Good evening.
Did you notice that I called you most courageous youth leaders?
Yes.
Little different from how I called you last time. Why do I have to call you courageous youth leaders?
Because you come over the stage
Exactly.
frights.
Yes, overcome the stage fright. Yes. This side, some courageous response from this side. Can I have? Okay. You know, we all know about Winston Churchill, right? A great leader. A great leader proves his leadership capabilities only during extremely challenging and difficult times. Anyone can be a reasonably good leader during normal times. But when you have very trying, very difficult times, and when you turn out to be a successful leader, accomplishing the missions of not only himself, but a big population of many countries, many continents, then you are really a leadership material. And that is what Winston Churchill said. And that is why we keep calling people like him as great leaders. Mahatma Gandhi, Winston Churchill, Martin Luther King. You know what Winston Churchill, how he described courage. He gave a beautiful definition for courage. And I want to share this little message with you today. Courage is what it takes to get up and speak. Courage is what it takes to get up and speak. Not just that. It is also what it takes to sit down and listen. And in this YLP, in your pursuit to really excel in communication program and leadership program, you are very well set out to master the art of speaking as well as the art of
Listening.
yes. So I am expecting all of you to turn out to be most courageous youth leaders. Will you?
Yes.
I can already see the symptoms of that in all of you from the previous meeting. Wonderful speeches. Some of the speeches, honestly speaking, were better than Toastmaster speeches. They were better than my icebreaker speeches, for me at least. And I think this time the set of speakers that we are going to have, the set of evaluators that we are going to have, and the table topic speakers are going to do even a better job. That's it. That's the spirit, And keep up that spirit. Believe in yourself, and that is what will take you to and get the best out of you. Okay, as I always remember one of the great sayings by the great Buddha. You know what he said? Conquering oneself is much better than winning 1,000 battles. So you are all here to conquer yourself and explore yourself, to bring the best out of yourself. And now I'm just going to switch a little message to the parents. Many of the parents, some of the parents did call me last week, or you Toastmaster Mani, or Toastmaster Vignesh, with some mails or phone calls saying, youth leaders, this is a weekday, Wednesday, and many of you have a difficulty in attending today's meeting or performing an assignment. Some of you had to attend a scout workshop, some of you had other engagements or a test in the school, and what we did, we requested all the parents not to compromise on today's meeting, because this is going to be one of the continuous, this is going to be one of the center point of continuity towards the next meeting, and all of you will have to complete your speech projects, and all of you have to learn your evaluations, and we want to help you conquer yourself, and to make them great winners. Parents, I think these little compromises, little sacrifices are required, because finally we are here to make them extremely courageous. Aren't we, youth leaders?
Yes.
Most often it also happens that only courageous people are always having to face challenges. And we have a challenge to handle today. Our enthusiastic and energetic president, youth leader Anujit, had to, hold your applause please, he had to go back to India because of schooling reasons. He was expecting an admission in a very good school, and he got it last week, and therefore his parents decided to move into India. So that was an emergency shift, and he is not here. But we are having a wonderful ex-con. We have very talented VP Education, a very vibrant secretary, treasurer, and an enthusiastic surgeon at arms. We can certainly handle the task, but we still need a nice captain. We need a smart captain, don't we?
Yes.
Therefore, what we did as Elite YLP Coordination Committee, we sat down last week. We evaluated many among you for a nomination. And finally, we zeroed in on one person who was chosen the best speaker of last meeting to be nominated as your new president to lead this very wonderful team. So therefore, the first thing that I will do now is to install him as your president. Don't you want to give him an applause? And then he will take it over from me and lead the meeting today. Please help me welcome on stage youth leader Sandeep Sainath. You're a very committed person, as you all already know him better than I do, because you got to know each other, and very, very committed, very energetic, takes things very seriously. Do you all remember, youth leaders, I sent you a mail asking for volunteers for icebreaker speeches before even we started our meetings. Do you remember? You don't?
Yes.
Yes, now I hear you. And he was the first person to respond to my email. So that was also one of the criteria. When opportunity knocks your door, be the first one to grab it. Okay? So, youth leader Sandeep, are you now ready to take over as the president of this wonderful youth leader club as a first term president for the next 3 weeks?
Yes.
Can we start the installation ceremony of your president? Youth leaders, you are the members of the club. You have to let me install him as your president. Will you allow me?
Yes.
Youth leader Sandeep, can I request you to hold this gavel as a symbol of power? And I want you to repeat with me towards the end, but I will first tell you what is expected of you. Youth leader Sandeep Sainath, you have been selected as the president of this youth leadership program. You are its chief executive officer, and you are expected to preside over all YLP meetings at regular and special meetings of your executive committee. Your executive committee comprises of Vice President Education, Youth Leader Anna Jacob, Secretary, Youth Leader Sabha, its treasurer, youth leader Shika Suresh, and 3 surgeon at arms. It is your challenge to see that the YLP enables its youth leaders to achieve their educational goals. It is also your challenge to see that your YLP spreads positive message in the community so that various clubs in Jubail come forward to organize many such YLP programs for the benefit of other children. Please accept the gavel as a symbol of your leadership and dedication to office. The gavel is a symbol of power and authority given to you by the youth leaders of this YLP. Use it wisely and with restraint. You are a member of your team as well as a leader. Your team is more than a collection of people, and I am very sure you know very well about it. It is an emotional force rooted in the feelings, thoughts, and actions of all members with the common goal of achievement, sharing, and mutual support. Work with your team members to create a healthy, dynamic YLP, an YLP of which everyone will be proud of. Now, I'm going to request you, will you as President accept this challenge and perform duties to the best of your abilities, Youth Leader Sandeep Sainath?
Yes, I will.
Now, you may take control of the lectern and conduct the rest of the meeting, and I wish you all the very best, and we are all extremely hopeful of your successful captaincy for the first term. Youth leaders, are you willing to accept him as your President?
Yes.
Over to you, President.
Thank you, Toastmaster Perry, for that kind introduction. Distinguished Toastmasters, fellow youth leaders, and wonderful guests, good evening.
Good evening.
Leadership is the capacity to translate vision into reality. And in my humble opinion, it takes a lot of commitment and hard work to acquire the right leadership skills and be recognized as good leaders. After witnessing the last 2 meetings of Elite YLP, it's already clear to me that this wonderful YLP program will impart the necessary communication and leadership skills to rid us of any stage fright and make us extremely confident. Do you agree with me, my fellow youth leaders?
Yes.
If we build on this wonderful exposure, I am sure that we will all flourish in all our future endeavors and be successful leaders. As I take over as the president of this YLP this evening, I commit to you that I, along with my talented ex-com, will indeed play a big role in improving the benefits and camaraderie among us. It is my utmost honor to be your president, and I will strive to meet the needs of each meeting to the best of my abilities, and of course, with your support. The great Napoleon once said, "A leader is a dealer in hope." And I am extremely hopeful that I will deliver my best for your interests during my term. I would like to welcome all the Toastmasters and youth leaders once again, as well as our guests to our 4th meeting in YLP. Are there any guests to be introduced?
Mr. President, I have my daughter, Linda Abirami here this evening.
Welcome, Abhirami. I have my dad, Mr. Sainath, as a guest today. Are there any other guests? Yes?
I have my wife, my daughter, and my son.
Hello. Yes?
I have my wife, my son, and my daughter.
Welcome.
I
Yes?
have my cousin.
Okay.
I have my mother and my small sister.
Welcome. Yes.
I have my small sister.
Hi. Welcome.
I have my father.
Welcome, sir.
I have my mother.
Welcome.
I
Yes?
also have my mom.
To all our guests, thank you for coming and welcome. I would now like to call for the Secretary's report for the minutes of the previous meeting on the 11th of April 2014.
Respected Toastmasters, youth leaders, parents, and guests, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
The Elite Youth Leadership Program Meeting number 1 was held on 11th of April 2014, held at Al Jud Village Recreational Center. Sergeant at Arm Youth Leader Richa Santosh called the meeting to order and introduced our presiding officer. The presiding officer, Youth Leader Anna Jacob, welcomed the members and guests and called up the Standing Secretary, Youth Leader Shika Suresh, to read out the minutes of meeting. The presiding officer welcomed the Chief Youth Leader Coordinator Toastmaster Perry to address the youth leaders. The Chief YLP Coordinator Toastmaster Perry addressed the youth leaders and explained the agenda of the day's meeting. The presiding officer thanked the Chief YLP Coordinator Toastmaster Perry and introduced the youth leader of the day, Youth Leader Anna Joseph. The youth leader of the day, Youth Leader Anna Joseph, introduced the outline of the day's meeting and introduced her assignees as follows. Ward Master and Grammarian was Dr. Toastmaster, Dr. George. The General Evaluator was Toastmaster Varish Patil. The Table Topic Master was Toastmaster Ramasamy. The Timer was Youth Leader Pinkat. The counter was Toastmaster Amar Ars. The vote counter was Youth Leader Hazem Sami, and the joke master was Youth Leader Ashwin. This was followed by a prepared speech session. There was 7 prepared speeches given by the youth leaders: Vishnu, Youth Leader Anna Jacob, Youth Leader Sandeep, Youth Leader Shika Suresh, Youth Leader Nitya, and Youth Leader Dhruv. Youth Leader Sandeep was voted as the best speaker. This was followed by the workshop conducted by Toastmaster Surendachari and Toastmaster Perry, and they conducted the workshop on the Toastmaster roles and responsibilities and how to organize your speech respectively. The youth leader of the day introduced the joke master of the day, Youth Leader Ashwin, who performed his role beautifully by making youth leaders and guests laugh. Youth Leader of the day, Anna Joseph, thanked the joke master and called for a break. The Youth Leader of the day, Youth Leader Anna Joseph, introduced the Table Topic Master, Toastmaster Ramasamy. The Table Topic Master, Toastmaster Ramasamy, conducted the table topic excellently. The table topic speakers were Toastmaster Jurav, Youth Leader Saba, Youth Leader Nadia Ahmad, Youth Leader Aditya Bahardwaj, and Youth Leader Aditya Ajith. Youth Leader Aditya Ajith was voted the best table topic speaker. The Youth Leader of the day introduced the General Evaluator Toastmaster Varish Patil, Toastmaster DTM Dr. George, Toastmaster Perry, Toastmaster Mani Vanan, Toastmaster Santosh Joan, Toastmaster Vinkat, Toastmaster Surendachari, and Madame Toastmaster Anamika were the evaluators. Toastmaster Vignesh was the table topic evaluator. Youth Leader Anna Jacob, Vice President Education, was announced the assignees of the next meeting as speakers for the Youth Elite YLP Meeting 3. scheduled on 16th April 2014. Meeting was adjourned and delicious dinner was served. Thank you.
Is there anything else to be added? Then I confirm these meeting minutes as the true minutes of the previous meeting. I would now like to introduce a very sanguine youth leader. He studies in 8th grade in Maria International School and is a very sportive person. And he likes to play football and tennis. He also admires and idolizes the great Nelson Mandela. Please help me to introduce the youth leader who will be carrying us to this meeting today. Youth leader Hazem Sami with a thunderous round of applause.
Thank you, Presiding Officer, for that encouraging word of introduction. Distinguished Toastmasters, guests, and fellow youth leaders, a warm good evening to one and all.
Good evening.
Unless there is commitment, there are only promises and hopes. Commitment is the foundation of great achievements in this world. But for our parents' commitment, we would not be what we are today. It is the commitment of the Toastmasters of Elite and the leaders of the great committee that have brought all of us to this wonderful place, giving us all the great opportunity to learn the most important skills of our life, which are communication and leadership. I have therefore chosen commitment as the theme of today, and I'm sure that all our youth leaders are today committed to give their best performance and make this evening a memorable evening for all the audience. Now let us move into the educational program. Today the education program is divided into 3 sections. The first will be the prepared speech section. This will be followed by the table topic session, and then the most important session of this evening, which is the evaluation session, and we seek feedback on our performance. To conduct a meeting of this grand scale is not an easy task. I'm privileged to have a team of able assignees to help me on this important task. I shall be introducing my team of assignees one by one, and I request the audience to hold their applause until I finish introducing all my assignees. My first assignee for today is the word master and grammarian. To perform this task, I have youth leader Aditya Naresh, which is an 8th grader. She likes reading science fiction books and listening to Korean music. Please help me welcome youth leader Aditya to introduce the word of the day and to explain her role as the word master and grammarian.
Good evening, my name is Aditi. My role today as a word master is to introduce a new word as the word of the day and explain the different usages of the word with proper illustration to enable the members to expand their vocabulary. Today the word I have chosen is sanguine. As an adjective, it means someone who is very optimistic. As a noun, it means a blood red color. The noun can only be used for complexions and not in any other context. Some sentences using the word sanguine are: he's a very sanguine person, his complexion is very sanguine. My role as a grammarian is to carefully listen to everyone's words and take note of the good and bad usages of language, such as colorful expressions and phrases, incorrect grammar, awkward usage of language, incomplete thoughts, etc. To take note of the correct / incorrect usage of the word of the day and to present your complete report on the use of language when called upon by the general evaluator. Thank you.
Thank you, youth leader Aditya. My next assignee is the table topic master, whom I will introduce during the table topic session. May I now request youth leader Krupa Bharat Joshi to acknowledge her presence and explain her role.
Good evening, everybody. everybody.
Good evening.
I'm here to sorry. The purpose of table topic is to provide an opportunity for speaker to improve his or her speaking abilities and provide an opportunity to learn by observing most proficient speakers. I'm here to give them the interesting table topics on which they can speak. Thank you.
Thank you, Youth Leader Krupa. My next assignee is the General Evaluator. I shall introduce him during the evaluation session. May I now request Youth Leader Muhammad Momin to acknowledge his presence and explain his role as the General Evaluator. Sorry, there have been a little change. It's not Youth Leader Muhammad Momin, it's Youth Leader Abirami.
You can read from that.
Thank you, Youth Leader. My next assignee is the A counter. To perform this task, I have a Youth Leader, Hamza Tugankar, who's a 9th grader. May I request Youth Leader Hamza to acknowledge his presence and explain his role as the A counter.
Good evening, everybody. My role as A counter is to listen to speakers and take note of words and sound used as verbal crutches such as etc. and report them as A counts. To count the words and use pause fillers during the speeches such as well and you know but so etc. to report them as fillers. To take note of unwanted log pauses occurring during the speeches and report them as pauses. I will record the details in the A counter log and report the same when called upon by General.
Thank you, Youth Leader Hamza. My next assignee is the timer. To perform this task, I have a Youth Leader who is studying in the 10th grade, who aims to do engineering and help the poor and the needy. May I request Youth Leader Deva Parasit to acknowledge his presence and explain his role as the timer for today's meeting.
Good evening.
Thank you, Youth Leader Deva Parasit. My next assignee is the vote counter. To perform this task, I have a Youth Leader who is a 10th grader who is studying in International English School Jubail. He likes to play his Xbox 360 and making new friends. May I request Youth Leader Nihal Muiz to acknowledge his presence and explain his role as the vote counter.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Today my role is as a vote counter, and it's to ensure the distribution of voting slips to all members before meeting and to collect voted ballot slips at end of each session. To count the ballots and declare the results at the end of the meeting when called upon by the Toastmaster. To ensure that the certificates awarded are properly filled and signed by the presiding officer.
Thank you, Youth Leader Nihal Muiz. To regale all of us through humor and to listen up, my next assignee is the Joke Master. To perform this task, I have a Youth Leader who is Pinak. He is a 9th grader. His hobbies are reading, listening, and music. And be careful because he's a black belt in karate. May I request Youth Leader Pinak to come and regale us with some jokes?
Good evening, everyone. My role as a joke master is to regale the audience by delivering tasteful and appropriate jokes befitting the dignity and decorum of the Toastmasters meeting, to cultivate a sense of humor among Toastmasters so that speeches delivered can be made entertaining and memorable, to make Toastmasters meeting an enjoyable and relaxing experience. Thank you.
Thank you, Youth Leader Pinak. Fellow youth leaders and guests, please give a thunderous round of applause to all my assignees. Now let's move into the prepared speech session. My first speaker tonight is Youth Leader Kushalia, who is studying in 9th grade in Maria International School. The title of her speech is To Care. May I request her evaluator, Youth Leader Anna Joseph, to read the objectives of her speech. It would be her evaluator, Youth Leader Sandeep Sainat, to read her objectives, the objectives of the speech. Yes, please.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening. The objective of the speech, aspect speech, is to break ice with the audience and discover speaking skills he or she already has, and the time limit is 4 to 6 minutes.
Thank you. Since all the speakers are delivering their icebreaker speeches, the objectives remain the same. Now we have Youth Leader Kushalia to care, and please come forward to us.
I'm audible at the back? Respected Toastmasters, youth leaders, guests, parents, and sanguine children, a warm good evening.
Good evening.
Everyone has a dream, right?
Yes.
I too have a dream. John Quincy Adams once said, if your actions inspires others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more, then you are a leader. I, Kaushalya, was born in Sri Lanka on January 14, 1999. When I was 2 years old, I came to Saudi Arabia. Being the only child in my family, I was loved by everyone. My father, Mr. Jairaj, is a business development manager who loves playing cricket. My mother, Mrs. Mali, is a lovely, caring person who cooks delicious food. Worked as a medical nurse before and quit her job in order to take good care of me. One day, when I woke up from my bed, at around 5 a.m. in the morning, I found my father missing. I ran everywhere and looked in vain, but he was nowhere to be found. So I ran to my mother and I woke her up and I told her, "Dad is missing." She rushed from bed and they started calling him, but there was no response. So we started calling everyone we knew, but they told they don't even know either. So it was 7 a.m. We were starting to get nervous. Then my mother got a call, and guess who? It was my dad. He was cheerfully saying in the other end that he was playing cricket in the cricket field. That's my dad. One day, my grandmother asked me, "Kaushalya, what is your dream? And what do you want to become when you grow up?" I was surprised, as I never thought of it before. So every day, I kept asking myself, what is my dream? And how can it be different from others? So, in order to help myself, I went to my dad and asked him, "Dad, how can I realize my dream?" And then he quietly replied, "My child, when the right time comes, you realize it. But the time never came." So, I went to my grandmother and asked her for help. She started telling me my father's story. She said, my father used to lead his school cricket team as well as the university cricket team. And he had a great passion for playing in our national team. But everything changed because of the Civil War. The shells and the violence of the war turned his dream topsy-turvy like it did for many others. While studying, he also helped the poor and the people who suffered from the war. I was so impressed from his decision and also inspired from his goodwill. And I decided that day that I wanted to do something. Something I can. And I decided to be a doctor. So I can help the poor and the needy in my country. Here in YLP, our goal is to become a leader. And to be an effective leader, we must learn that to be a true leader, we must be a true servant. A leader who has a heart for others. A true leader who uplifts them from their situations. I remember how sad I felt when I saw the poor people in my country. I wanted to do something for them. So, I came to YLP. Communication and leadership skills from this YLP will help me to connect better with them, as well as show them ways to recuperate and recover. My dream is to be a leader. Youth leaders, thank you. Over to you.
Thank you, Youth Leader Kushalia. My next speaker is the Youth Leader Aditya Bharadwaj, who is studying in the 9th grade in ISG Dahran. The title of his speech is Change for Good. Change for Good, Youth Leader Aditya Bharadwaj.
Am I audible? Yes. Change is the only constant thing in life, said the Greek philosopher Plato. And I completely agree with this, as change has been my constant companion. Distinguished Toastmasters, fellow youth leaders, and respected guests, warm good evening. Good evening. My name is Aditya Bharadwaj. I study 9th grade in ISG Dahran. I lived the early days of my life in Baroda, India. Since I was the first child of my parents, I was the main focus and I got whatever I asked for. When I was 4 years old, the first major change struck me. My baby brother, Ayush, was born. I felt his difference. Fellow youth leaders, all my pampering time had literally become his pampers time. I felt lonely, but luckily, I started schooling that year. I drifted in nicely with my school and I made the first friends of my life. When I was settling down in my school, my father decided to change jobs and move to another location. I went from Baroda, a place with crowded markets, to a place with huge shopping malls and speeding SUVs. Yes, I had moved from India to Saudi Arabia. In Saudi Arabia, I lived in a compound called Oasis, where I made the best friends of my life over the course of 3 years. While I was relishing the baklava and the laban, everything changed. I moved from the KSA to the USA. Do you know what the first words man said when he landed on the moon? He said, "Houston, the eagle has landed." Well, this eagle had landed in Houston. USA, being the cultural part of many different cultures, exposed me to different types of people, talents, opportunities, and values of life. Here is where I earned my 2nd degree belt in Taekwondo. I did community service for the National Junior Honor Society, and I played chess for the US Chess Federation. I also discovered my natural flair of artwork in Houston, where my art was hung on the Texas Art Exhibition, a proud moment in my life. I started to love my life in the United States, but it seemed like my father heard my thoughts and immediately packed us off to another location. When we landed, people started coming and telling us, "Annyeonghaseyo." We all replied with, "De kamsahamnida." You might be wondering what I'm saying. I just said hello and thank you in Korean. Yes, I had landed in the beautiful city of Seoul, South Korea. From the warm Gulf of Mexico to the shivering cold of the Japanese Sea, it was a big change. After my initial hesitation, I got along with my Korean friends who taught me how to build snowmen, have snowball fights. I went on skiing with my brother. I attended the Seoul Foreign School, which taught me my swimming skills and great values of life. One time, my father, while coming back from work, left his laptop in a taxi. When he came back home, of course, he was very worried. The next morning, at 6 a.m., the Korean police returned the laptop to him and said that the driver had left it off the night before. This incident taught me the amazing honesty of the people living in Korea. And I started loving this place. Again, my father seemed to know what I was thinking. And you can guess what happened next. Now, after gallivanting around the world, I'm now back in Saudi Arabia, but as a changed person. From the little boy with faltering steps in Baroda, I'm metamorphosed into a person who's looking forward to meeting and living with people of different cultures and beliefs. And if there's one thing I've learned from all this change, it's that it's not about how strong or how intelligent you are that matters. It's about how you can manage and adapt to the changes in your life, which is really important. I would like to thank the Elite Toastmasters Club and the Chief YLP Coordinator for giving me this opportunity to meet 29 new friends and to learn the most important skills of life, communication and leadership. I'm starting to love this change. And Dad, I hope you didn't hear me. Over to you.
Thank you, Youth Leader Aditya. My next speaker is Youth Leader Richard Jung, who is studying in grade 6 in ISG and one who loves to dance and read books. The title of her speech is The Dancing Sounds of Rain. Please give a applause.
Am I? Yes. Life is like a dance, and many a times we dance to the tune of nature. Dear Toastmasters, beloved parents, Youth Leader of the Day, and fellow youth leaders, good evening.
Good evening.
I, Richa Elizabeth Santosh, have a loving family of 5 members. My sibling sister and a very naughty brother. My caring mom and my dad, Toastmaster Santosh, who is my tall hero. Our family is popularly known as the strong supporters of Elite Toastmasters Club. Do you know why? Because whenever the attendance in Elite Toastmaster clubs becomes 10, Money Uncle calls my dad and immediately the attendance goes up by 5. The other Toastmaster clubs in Jubail also have started to call us these days. My father, who is a businessman, is now planning to charge a fee for our attendance. My mother loves attending such meetings to avoid cooking. I was born in Kerala, where we often wake up hearing the dancing sounds of rains. That rhythm of rain got in me and my sister toward a passion in learning dance. We started learning classical dance and Western dance during weekends. Don't be deceived by my looks. I can dance very well. The public presentation of our formal dance, known as Arangetam in our language, was one of the most memorable days in my life. I had the golden opportunity to do this in a famous temple known as Guruvayur in Kerala. I was so nervous, more than this icebreaker speech. But my parents and my grandparents gave me the courage and confidence to perform. I started to perform. Due to my nervousness, I forgot few steps. But just like our speech, no one noticed it, except me and my parents. It was a long way. We had to complete 9 songs all the way. But all is well that ends well. We had an outstanding arrangator. We felt that it was worth all nervousness. It was indeed an honor. The biggest bully in my family is my brother Edwin. He is extremely naughty. I wish I had used him on the stage to show you that how much naughty he was. But our YLP coordinator, Uncle Perry, warned me that strictly, no calamities on the stage. Can you believe that once he jumped from the first floor of a building because his friend challenged him to do so? I am studying in ISG. I'm not only a daughter of a tall dad, I also have a tall dream. Yes, my ambition is to become an astronaut and serve NASA in USA. Because astronomy is my other passion. Not just that, I also want to improve my communication and leadership skills. As my first few steps, I've chosen ISG for my knowledge and Elite Youth Leadership Program for my skills. Get ready to meet a NASA scientist with a great passion towards classical dance in futures. Will you, youth leaders? Yes. Over to you, youth leader of the day.
Thank you, Youth Leader Richa. My next speaker is Youth Leader Vishal Amar, who is studying in 7th grade in ISG. The title of his speech is Learning Experience. Learning Experience by Youth Leader Vishal Amar.
Am I audible at the back? Am I audible? Am I audible now? Yes. Live as you were to die tomorrow, and learn as you were to live forever, said the great father of my nation, Mahatma Gandhi. Dignitaries, guests, dear youth leaders, and Toastmasters, a warm good evening to all.
Good evening.
Every day, every second, every movement is a new learning moment for me. I'm sure that most of you here don't remember what you learned in your early childhood years due to child amnesia. Well, the same applies to me. Therefore, my mother said that I, Vishal Urs, was born in the beautiful palace city of Mysore, a city filled with greenery and freshness of nature. Mine is a multicultural and a multi-religious state where people live in peace and harmony. I was the only boy in my family until 3 years, when my cute, charming and compassionate brother Vaibhav was born. But these compliments didn't stay with him for long, until when the cute became into violent, the charming became into annoying, and the compassionate became very cunning. But I was at least happy to have someone to release my anger on and play fools and pranks on. But he was no less than me. In fact, he researched on the computer for the best of the best ways to make fools and pranks of people. One day, he applied his knowledge on me. I was doing my homework quietly in my room. I felt a little tired and thought of having a cup of tea. I went to the kitchen, got my cup of tea, came back and sat on my chair. Suddenly, came a sound. My brother started laughing. I got scared and quickly jumped off the chair to realize that it was the sound of air quickly moving out of a balloon. I got agitated as my father came rushing from the room and started scolding me as thinking that I had polluted the fresh atmosphere of the house. From then on, I've regretted having a brother. I was the only boy in my family. Short childhood living with my grandparents has influenced me a lot. I've spent most of my life living in Saudi Arabia than in my home country, India. I live here in Jubail with my kind, loving, and ever-caring parents, caring to the extent that when I prefer a brand, they offer me a range, and when I make a choice, they give me a variety. I'm currently seeking my education at IST Jubail American School. Very well ingrained in my mind, I have the following words. All work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. I defer to be a bookworm and also prefer to be a sporty person. I love sports. I play cricket, basketball, table tennis, and soccer. A short childhood with my grandparents has influenced me a lot. Their mythological stories about the importance of values and social service have shaped my thinking and outlook of life. Now, my behavior has a sound foundation of Indian culture laid down by them. The very basis of Indian culture is caring and respecting for your elders. Grandparents care about our emotional needs of upbringing a child, whereas our parents care about the physical needs of upbringing the family. My father Amar Urs and my mother Vidya Urs work hand in hand every day to fulfill our needs. And when I try to get casual on the dining table, my mother gets harder. She demands justice for the hours spent in the kitchen. She continues that if I do justice on the dining table, I'll get justice on the playground. Everybody in the house has to obey her verdict. Being a teacher, she's completely aware of the changing patterns and growing trends of the younger generation. My father and mother often get together in planning our future and showing the family the right path through the thick and thin of life. Dear youth leaders, for me, life is a beautiful learning experience with a loving mother, caring father, blissful grandparents, and an exasperating brother. Over to you.
Thank you, Youth Leader Vishal. My next speaker is Youth Leader Modita, who is studying in 9th grade IIS Jubail. The title of her speech is Life is a Journey, Enjoy It Without Tension. Life is a journey, enjoy it without tension. Youth Leader Modita.
Am I audible? Am I audible? Yes. A bindas and a soft-spoken gentleman came to Saudi Arabia looking job from the garden city of Bangalore. Later, he married a woman named Lena, who was blessed with a creative mind. Few years later, they were blessed with a cute and naughty little baby girl. Youth leader of the day, YLP Chief Coordinator, Master Uncle Perry, youth leaders, and my dear loving friends. Good evening to all of you. Good evening. That naughty baby girl was me. Can anyone guess my birthplace? Yes, you're right. I was born in Saudi Arabia. It is rich in oil and petroleum, and it is also a holy land. I was very naughty. I was born on 12th May 2000, not 2014. I, since childhood, loved to eat chicken. So, the Saudis prepared very delicious barbecue. When we used to visit parks, I would walk slowly and go near the Saudi families, and eyes were glued to the barbecue chicken. Then, I would move my left hand forward and receive a few pieces of chicken. My mother goes wild on such situation. But my fun-loving father didn't even respond. He sometimes even demands those chicken pieces. Give me one. My father works in SAR for past 20 years. I think he likes Hadid overtime a lot. That's why he refused most of the places when he wanted to shift. My mother is blessed with a creative mind. Thus, her passion is art and craft. She is a pushing force to me, such as a rocket fuel. That's why I always feared failing, as I am now. But in 2003, my mother was admitted in Almira General Hospital due to some emergency. My father was busy filling the form and I went missing. But I was found at the dental care reception playing with the keyboard of that computer. Few hours later, my mother was blessed with a small cute little baby. She was my sister. But as days turned to months and months turned to years, my sister became very demanding and her continuous nagging at me annoys me a lot. But I love her a lot. Right now I am in grade 9 and my ambition is to become a doctor. But my favorite subject is games. Friends, do you think, can I do it with the favorite subject as games? Who cares? I want to complete my studies without any tension. Let my parents think about my ambition. There's a lot of time for that. Friends, life is not a problem to be solved, but a reality to be experienced. That is why I joined this YLP program, to build my future. As the slogan says, lead them to lead. I'm sure in future I will lead many things. Over to you.
Thank you, Youth Leader Morita. My next speaker is Youth Leader Aditya Ajit, who is studying in 9th grade IIS Jubail. The title of his speech is The Journey of My Life. The Journey of My Life, Youth Leader Aditya Ajit.
Am I audible? How many of you would like to sway between palm trees, coconut trees, with your goggles on and simultaneously sip some fresh coconut waters in your hand? I bet nobody can resist that. Can you? No. I feel proud to say that I have had such experiences with backwaters and sandy beaches in my journey. And let me tell you, it's a truly mesmerizing experience. Fellow youth leader of the day, respected Chief YLP Coordinator, Uncle Perry, respected Toastmasters, and fellow youth leaders, good evening.
Good evening.
I am Aditya Ajit, and I was born on this earth on March 30th, 2000, in Palakkad, a small district in Kerala. The God's own? Come on, louder, the God's own? Exactly. When I turned 4 months old, we moved to Pondicherry, where my father, Ajit Kumar, had worked. Here, I became a whiny kid who would not go to anyone else but his mother. I would cry all the time and would not allow anyone to touch me or pick me up. I was a complete mama's boy. And still am. Sorry, Dad. When I turned 4 years old, my journey took a different turn. We flew from the eastern coast of India to the eastern coast of Saudi Arabia, the city of Dammam. Here, I joined kindergarten and the first day of school was a frightening experience. I cried till my parents had come to pick me up, and then I cried more.
This made the other students cry too. Man, that day was a long day. As I grew older, I developed a new passion for video games. I'd play hours on, that is, if my parents allowed me to. When I came to Saudi Arabia, my favorite foods were dosas and idlis. I would eat them all the time, but then my parents made one mistake. They bought me burgers and pizzas. I moved from dosas and idlis to burgers and pizzas, much to the irritation of my parents. My grandma often used to tell me that my parents were overjoyed when I was born. They were extremely excited because I was the first boy child in the family. They showed all their love upon me and pampered me. As a result, I became a spoiled brat. Now, let's talk about my passion. As you already know, one of my passions is food, the other one is video games, another one is football. You might think, what is the connection between the three of them? Let me tell you. My ambition is to become a video game developer. And when I do become one, I want to make games related to football and maybe a food. I moved to Jubail when I was 9 years old and was in grade 4. Here, as you all know, I developed a new passion for football. My mother is truly the soul of our house. She loves to experiment with food. My poor father and I are guinea pigs of her experiments. My mother often asked me, Aditya, how much did your friends score? And before I had told her my marks. And if I had gotten good marks, she would scold me for my bad handwriting. Friends, sometimes I feel envious to the people who study in India. They have to wake up at 8 o'clock in the morning, while we have to wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning. How is that fair? Well, enough about studies. Oh my God. Fellow youth leaders, through my journey, I've been to many different places and have met many different people. But the journey in YLP seems far more exciting. Many new friends to make, many idols to emulate, and many milestones to cross. Fellow youth leaders, today as I take my first baby step towards conquering the peak of communication, will you support me? Yes. Thank you.
Thank you, Youth Leader Aditya Ajit. We have come to the end of the prepared special speeches session. May I have the timer reports, please?
All of the speakers are qualified. You just said.
Okay, so all our speakers for today are qualified.
Can you make?
Yes, Mr. Perry, Mr. Uncle Perry wants to say it.
Fellow youth leaders, how was the speech?
Nice.
All the speeches were very good, right?
Yes.
So we made a small change in the voting decision. Okay, that is the reason I am here. That's why. Otherwise, it's a youth leader of the day's job. You will have to choose the best 3 speakers. You will have to choose one, the third best speaker, second, and the first. 3, 2, 1. So please write down in your voting slip. You have seen 6 speakers today. Select the top 3. We want to recognize as many of you as possible. Okay? Okay, Youth Leader Jisha? Fine? And I think it will be the same for the table topic speeches as well as evaluators. You will select the top 3. Okay? Thank you. Thank you. And the Toastmasters, some of the select Toastmasters also want to join the voting. Okay, we also want to take the pleasure of voting, so they will vote along with you. Okay.
I request all the youth leaders to cast their votes for the best speaker, and I request the vote counters to collect the ballots. Top three speakers.